Good evening and welcome to Friday Night Thunder on MRL Broadcasting. Tonight we welcome you to Homestead Miami Speedway for a Friday Night Thunder ARCA Series here on MRL. I'm your host, Snake. I've got my partner in crime, Smoking Joe, right here. Smoking Joe, how we doing?
We're getting a nice tan down here in Florida. Got some nice weather for some nice racing at Homestead. Mile and a half racing. We'll see what the track has in store for us here this week. We all know how Homestead is very tire dependent, so we're gonna see if those general tires, if they last here, or if they're gonna fall off on a real quick cliff.
Yeah, so folks, grab yourself a refreshing beverage, have yourself a comfortable seat, and we're about to go racing here at one of our more interesting 1.5 mile intermediate tracks. Not the conventional cookie cutter style. Am I mistaken, Joe?
Yeah, this kind of track is a little bit different, just with the way the banking works, and then of course with how all the different kind of lines you can drive here. So I think we're going to see a lot of bottom feeding here tonight in order to save tires on a short run. But do expect the second and third lanes to really start opening up, especially ripping against the wall to get some good momentum with these cars.
Well, it looks like we have 83-degree Fahrenheit ambient air temperature that makes 89-degree racing service for us. So a little bit on the cooler side. There should be some grip as the sun begins to set and we do transition to nighttime. Should be exciting to see the comers and goers and the way the cars adapt and react to the change in temperature and time of day. Looking forward to seeing how this one goes. There's going to be 3 tire sets as always in our ARCA series. Fuel load's going to be roughly 40 to 44 laps, just depending on how these guys drive, whether they go low line, mid, or they try to rip the boards up there up top by the fence. So your mileage may vary. Looking ahead at current standings, we have ourselves quite a battle, do we not, Joe? It's really tightening up.
Yeah, we got some interesting battles going on here. After Daytona last week, chaotic race that saw Buddy Sully come across the line in first place with his new Gulf Coast racing teammates for Thursday night Thriller Truck Series action. Joe Volpus and Matt Novella coming in second and third right behind him. So 1, 2, 3 for those guys. And you can see what that's done to the point standings. So Volpus is actually the first driver to lock himself in on points after last week. And then we got a bunch of guys here that can lock themselves in. That 2nd through 7th spot there, see? All yes. Those guys can lock themselves in tonight with a good run on points.
I got to stop you right there. Position number 2 in that points battle. Steve Lewis maintaining that 2nd place position for a few weeks now. And, the gap has kind of widened a few points here or there. But Steve Lewis really doing a great job running consistent, pointing his way forward and into the playoff situation. It's looking really good in his favor. He just has to have a couple more good finishes. A race win definitely wouldn't hurt his cause either. And, of course, like Matthew Fritz, another one right behind him, that he hasn't changed position, just holding steady with 3rd. He also looking for that win or just a couple more good points days. Jax Duval 4th. He's got the win in the hand, so he's looking really good. Tommy Fox, hell of a season for Tommy. I really like what Thomas is doing there. 5th place. Just incredible consistency there, Tommy. David Owens, Mr. Zero Chill himself in 6th place. He's got a couple wins. He's sitting pretty. Matt Novella, he's got a couple wins. That definitely bolsters his cause. Jay Stinson been silently creeping up the standings, just there lurking. I feel like he's gonna rip one off here before season ends. He's definitely has great signs of speed and long green flag runs. Sean Walton is another one, very interesting, Joe, as he's on the bottom half of that top 10. He's got a win in hand. He just needs to put together some more good points efforts. And Daniel Smith, not enough starts, but he's moved up a few positions. And you got Juan Delgado right there on the cut line, Joe. So, yeah, a lot can happen.
Yeah, Daniel Plant Smith racing tonight will get to his minimum start requirement. So that's going to be very interesting to see, especially since he gained 5 points last week, the big mover. in
Yeah,
the
he had a
point standings to get
big
into that
jump.
10th spot to begin with.
Big
You
jump.
know what I'm looking at here, see, is if you look at the top 10, 6 of the top 10 don't have a win yet on the season, including the top 3 in points and 4 of the top 5. So consistency seems to matter a lot more right now than winning races. And we'll see if that trend continues when the chase starts here after Talladega.
Yeah, it's the way these guys have been running consistently without the win, Joe. It's like an homage to the old Winston Cup style point system where you were rewarded on that consistency and showing that solid effort week in and week out. So, and I tip my cap to them as we take a peek here at qualifying. Looks like Justin Parham is so far laid down the heater at a 32.59. Juan Delgado about a quarter of a second behind that pace. Michael Benton getting out there. He's about a half second off the pace. We'll see what they do on their second lap as the tires come up to temperature and they start feeling the racetrack out. So Justin Parham, another one, just missed a couple starts early on in the season, or else we'd be talking more about him. He's out there trophy hunting. He's up towards the front week in, week out. Really love his driving style, Joe. I think if he's able to commit to a full-time season, he might be a force to be reckoned with in ARCA on Fridays.
Yeah, he's had a lot of runs up front. He's already got a win here. I believe he won at Dover a little bit earlier. Very interesting to see what he can do. I see some of these guys start qualifying. And a nice little touch here, see, if you notice on the board right now, you see Steve Lewis, who's in 5th, Stinson, who's in 10th, and Vulpes, who's in 12th. They all have a little color coordination going on there.
I
So to
see
tell you a
that.
little bit about that, the drivers in yellow, those are the guys that are currently top 10 in points. Guys in green, they're locked in on points. And then here in a second, whenever they qualify, Panzarella and Buddy Sully, you'll see them in orange when they pop up on the leaderboard for being the 2 current wildcard drivers.
That's going to be very exciting. So, a little visual eye candy out there to help the viewer and to help us, honestly. And just really exciting to see the way that our points battle will shake out. You have Homestead for tonight. And then, we're going to wrap up at Talladega, of all places, for the regular season. And that's about a big a wild card as any. So tonight, a track that falls into many strengths of a lot of the drivers here. You'd want to maximize points tonight because you just do not know what will happen next week at Talladega.
That's right. And looking at it right now, Justin Parham got a pretty nice advantage over the rest of the field. Matt Fritz about 2/10 back in second. We'll see who. There's some guys left here that can really rip off a fast lap. You see David Owens out on the track. Still waiting to see Buddy Sully, one of the best racers in MRL and BRL at Homestead. See him rip down a lap time as well. There's David Owens' first lap, 32.99. As he sends it down onto the bottom lane for lap 2. Let's see what he's got in store for us, see.
Yeah, I think he's going to really dig deep here. He's got the tires up to temp. He's got the car up to speed. The first one's a little bit of a throwaway, so to speak, where you're just really trying to focus on getting that car to do everything you need it to do on that second lap to try to be at top of the leaderboard. And it's David Owens here. He comes to the line. Let's see. That's going to move him up to second place, about a 10th off of Justin Parham's time. So the 99's time will stand with David Owens on the outside pole there, moving Matthew Fritz to the third position in the second row. So David Owens with a great effort. Let's see if we move further onto the track here. And another qualifying effort here.
I think we just ran out of time.
And
wasn't able. I think the data might be a little flubbed up there too.
Yeah.
Looking at that tower.
Looks like the tower,
we're about to see. I think we're about to see the actual results here to see who actually got the pole.
So a little timing delay there on the tower. We'll get that sorted out. But David Owens actually came out on top with the pole. So he threw down the heater. Zero chill. David Owens on the pole, representing Gulf Coast Racing in most every other series where their teams at play. No stranger to the pole. Matthew Fritz in second. Matthew, another solid effort. So he's going to start outside P1 there. Matt Tucker, row 2. Is going to be paired up with Matt Novella. Guys always in towards the front of the field week in, week out. LA, Lucas, he has been absent for a few weeks. The part-time driver running a top 5 qualifying performance. Very excited to see what he's going to do tonight. Daniel Smith right there in 6, another one of the really fast guys, always with solid pace. 6. Steve Lewis, another consistent qualifying opportunity in the top 10. Joe Volpus in 8th, and Buddy Solly, another fast one in 9th, and Justin Parham. So Justin Parham's original pole time there early on in the qualifying session just didn't translate, and he'll slide down to round out your top 10.
Starting outside the top 10, we got some heavy hitters here on row 6. Jay Stinson, Zach Panzarella, 11th, 12th. On the row behind them, you got David Brenner and the promising rookie Juan Delgado. Next row, you got Ricky Mandela Sr. and Richard Swingle getting starts here in 15th and 16th. Then back there on row number 9, you got Brandon Garand, who really needs a good run here this week to get back into that chase hunt. And Zach Clausen making another start here this week alongside him. We go further back. Mike Bedden got it down a lap time there to get 19th on the board alongside Tommy Fox. Jack Sanders was the last one to put down a lap time. He's going to start 21st. Duval and John Beverly did not get a lap time down, so they're going to start at the tail end of the field for this 23-car affair around Homestead.
So you're going to have multiple strategies at play with the guys in the back. They're going to try to do what they can to jump some track position, maybe early on in the green flag start to the race or through pit strategy. But we see them exiting the pit road here. We're going to go ahead and form our pace lap. And just really excited to see what's going to happen. We have a 100-lap main event tonight, main feature. So we'll have 3 total sets of tires, including the one that you do start with. In Friday night fashion, you know we're going to be having that one fast repair, so you really want to be careful to preserve that. Also, you know, we can go pretty far on that green flag run. How much does the tank of that Sunoco race fuel hold there, Joe?
Yeah, so we were talking about that earlier. They're about 40 to 44 laps, mattering
Yep.
on where everyone drives on the track. The one thing I noticed there is Buddy Sully missed the grid, so he's going to be starting from pit road here.
So Buddy Solly qualified 9th this evening. I don't know whether that's by design or just a technical difficulty, but Buddy Solly in the 21, he's gonna start from pit road tonight, as we have a nice field of 23. Pace car is off. We will go green as they enter the restart zone. David Owens lurking, jumps early with a great push there from the 3rd place of Matt Novella and Fritz there. David Owens firing off there. Going to prefer the low line, going to keep it down there. Will he slide up to take the top? It looks like he's going to hold that mid and kind of drift up to the front there. So first place sorted out. David Owens is going to take your field in to turn 3 as your leader. You have Matthew Fritz there, Matt Tucker down on the bottom, Matt Novella in 4th, kind of lurking, hiding behind him there. Come to the line for lap 1. David Owens is your leader here tonight at Homestead Miami Speedway.
Gonna get that very, very crucial point there for leading the lap. You know, want to make sure he gets as many points as he can here early on in the race. You know, make sure to get that spot locked up and not have to worry about Talladega next week. You know, with 2 wins, though, I don't really think he's going to be worrying about too much anyways.
I feel like he's going to go try to shoot for wins at that point, knowing that he has a nice little cushion there, and he's getting ready for the playoffs. So you just never know what's going to be at hand here as the race unfolds. So lap 3 here, David Owens still your leader as we go through 1 and 2. Matthew Fritz in pursuit behind him in 2nd place. Matt Novella, your 3rd place driver. Daniel Plant Smith moving up through the field. He's into 4th already after starting in 6th. Matt Tucker kind of sliding back a few in 5th. And look at that, it's a Mark Martin sighting. We have the Joe Volpus Valvoline 6 machine there. He's charging up the field a little bit, trying to just keep pace with our leaders as David Owens comes to the line.
Contact behind him. I don't know if you saw that. Steve Lewis and Parham.
Steve Lewis and Justin Parham get a little bit of contact at lap 4. We're going to go under our first caution of the evening. We're still going to keep it green.
We're good.
They were able to keep it together. Okay, so Steve Lewis there. You see that pretty machine with the MRL broadcasting on the hood. We appreciate your support. Steve Lewis in the 88. And so hopefully he can get settled in. As you see, we're coming around for lap 5. David Owens led every lap of the race thus far. So David Owens looking pretty sporty tonight out in front in that clean air, Joe.
Yeah, definitely going to take advantage of it here early on. David Owens, not a real big fan of this track, as you can tell by him getting 2 wheels on the apron right there. Not really a big fan of this track. Looks like Matt Fritz and the rest of the field is going to actually get a bit of a train going here, bit of a run going from him getting on the apron there, coming out of 2C.
So historically, we know about the high line there at Homestead, Miami. In the long run, ripping the boards does have a lot of benefits to it, and you can really carry the momentum and pack a lot of speed going down the straightaways into the corners. So Matthew Fritz really making it work up top there. He's going to have a run, and he's going to assume the race lead. So new race leader. Matthew Fritz out of Middletown. He's going to be your new leader tonight on lap 6. David Owens is just going to slide right behind him there in second. I wonder if there's anything up top there. You see a lot of the guys on the bottom part of the track. I think that's indicative of kind of preserving the tires, because we know at Miami up top there can really shred those tires. So a little single file action. They're going to play a little bit of follow leader, as you see Daniel Plant Smith there, and we see Matt Tucker behind him, and Joe Volpus. You got a really nice six driver lead pack there. As you see, Steve Lewis and Justin Parham kind of entering the picture there. So single file as we're getting things sorted out and just kind of feeling the car out and just kind of logging laps, I guess, Joe.
Yeah, let's just see how these guys keep on racing here, and see Matt Fritz pulling away a little bit. Oh, there's contact behind him.
Yes, contact between Matt Novella and David Owens. It's
oh, no.
Tucker, Lewis, the whole field is spinning sideways here. So we had the big one at Homestead Miami Speedway at lap 8. That's incredible.
Did you see that? There was a car. Man, I hope there wasn't a cameraman on the other side of that catch fence over there.
More contact as we see a car on its roof.
My goodness. I think that was the 3 car of Ricky Mandela Sr. He went for a bit of a ride. I think he got the catch fence. I think he got hit by about 16 different cars. Ended up upside down.
Yeah, so we take a look at the Chantilly Lace Weddings instant replay. You see a little bit of contact there between Matt Novella and David Owens spurs this on. I think Matt Novella was holding his line. David Owens come down a little bit. And you see the 31, he's trying to check up. He's out of shape there. And here we're going sideways at this point. You got Joe Volpus escaping the carnage. Look at all these heavy hits. Jay Stinson involved. Look at that. Look at him ramping it up there on the fence. Look at that ride.
I think this is a good time to shout out our other sponsor, Animal House Customs, as the owner of the company drives upside down across the racetrack here. Right in front of us. Look out, cameraman. He's coming for you.
So incredible camera work by our MRL broadcasting crew as the Animal House Customs machine of Ricky Mandela. Boy, oh boy.
Oh, look, we're going to go on board with him here. Oh, boy.
Right on board with the Animal House Customs machine. And, he's trying to check up. There's nowhere to go. And, oh,
well.
Oh, boy. So thank goodness for the safety standards in NASCAR now, to keep these drivers safe, because that was a hell of a hit. And, man.
You know what? There a couple things there to just as we watch the contact there between the 56 and the 8 again.
The 8 pinches the 56 just a little bit, and that's all it takes. That's all it takes.
Yeah,
he has to check up.
Timing.
Yep, just trying to press and get that little extra out of the car, and just not clear.
So a little touch there about the in-car camera, that roof cam. Back in the day on the NR 2003 days, when you had a camera like that and you ended up on your roof, you ended up getting the snow on your screen. That would be what would happen. I kind of wish iRacing had that show up. That'd be pretty funny to just see the static and snow show up.
That would be pretty cool, but just David Owens almost saves it after the initial contact with Novella, and you see just you know, it's a parking lot here. So there's Zach Panzarella getting a little contact. Juan Delgado, a little contact down there. Daniel Smith is rolling up and
Tommy Fox
catches
sideways.
Tommy Fox sideways.
Zach Clausen.
Catches Clausen.
Zach Clausen using the 31
Clausen,
ramp.
that's very reminiscent of Ross Chastain at Texas a couple of years back. Ramping another car there. So incredible. So we're still under our first caution of the night, lap 11 here. When we go green, it will be lap 12. So in remembrance of Dennis Puckett, founder of Bonfire Racing League, we will be silent on the restart for lap 12. So a lot of guys, yeah, a lot of guys had to use that fast repair.
Comes the pace car off the track. Matt Fritz, Buddy Sully going to lead him to green here for our silent lap 12.
Yeah, you can cut us back in.
Oh! Did you see that? Did you see that on the backstretch?
Yes, we're back to caution. So we go 1.5 green flag laps, and the caution is out for the second time here at Homestead Miami Speedway on Friday Night Thunder, ARCA Series on MRL Broadcasting. Matthew Fritz is still our leader, so let's take a peek here and see what we missed when we went silent in remembrance of Dennis Puckett there. So let's see what the story tells us. You got David Brenner up there in the 22 on the high side, and Justin Parham there in the bottom. It's kind of one of those racing incidents. They kind of met in the middle, and the 99's going for a little bit of a ride, makes contact with the inside wall. That's a hard hit. That is a hard hit. Loses the fender, crumples the side there.
It's just so hard to tell, like, what started it.
Like one of those racing deals, maybe, you know, you're coming out of the turn with a little momentum. Maybe you're still a little tight and we're plowing, and maybe Brenner up high was just a smidge loose and was kind of drifting down a little bit, but either way, contact is made and we're under caution again. So we have some comers and goers here. So we have David Owens in for service. A few of our leaders, some of our cars elected to stay out, as you know, they just received service after our first caution. So Daniel Smith there, he's going to exit the pits down the service road, pit access road. Matt Novella will assume the lead. Jax Duval will be in second place. Joe Volpus rounds out your top 3 on lap 15. So a little strategy at play. Duval back towards started in the rear of the field. Novella, of course, started within your top 5. So a couple different strats at play. Pretty interesting.
Jay Stinson, looking at his pit time, he might have been in there long enough to take a set of tires. Looking at everybody's pit times, I think he's the only one that was in there long enough that would make sense here on this pit stop to take tires. Unknown if the rest of the guys that were fixing damage back there, you know, like Matt Tucker, John Beverly, there's a couple others on pit road as well. Parham, I see him on pit road. If they took tires or not while fixing damage.
I think some of them were trying to elect to fix the damage and try to save that fast repair. You know, you're trying your best not to burn a set of tires 15 laps in. But you know, you're involved in the wreck. You flat spot the tires, and you know, you just kind of cook them. Your forces your hand. The car's not going to drive the same. So they're trying to get their damage fixed. They'll be out there, and man, it's been a thrill ride the last few laps here. We had the big one, and then we had the baby one.
Yeah, a lot of wrecks here. 15 laps in, 2 cautions already. We'll see if these guys can get it sorted out here or not, and get some green flag racing in. When
Yeah.
we go green here, there's going to be 84 laps left. So let's see what we got in store. So you got Duval, you got Florida Man in Florida on the front row. Actually, you got Florida Man 1 and 2 on the outside row there in Duval and Brenner for this restart. So we'll see if the Florida connection can be better than the Gulf Coast Racing connection
Yeah.
on the
So
inside.
theoretically, those that topped off can make it on one stop from here. So that's what's pretty interesting is pace car exits to pit road is we're going to go green here and see Matt Novella firing off in that 56 machine. Boom, clears the 84 of Jax Duval immediately as we enter turn 1 and 2 on lap 17 of Friday Night Thunder. You got Joe Volpus in third place. He's lurking back there. He's sniffing. He's lurking. He's gonna reel Jax Duval in. Will he be able to attempt the pass in 3 and 4 as there's a little separation back to David Brenner in fourth with Zach Clausen nipping at his heels.
Yeah, looking further on back there, you know, you see that battle. Zach Clausen, Zach Panzarella, Daniel Plant-Smith, all battling there for 5th place. Zach Clausen way off the pace there. It looks like
4 wide.
Coming down the front stretch as they scatter all over the place here, see?
Yeah, they're just weaving in and out. It's kind of almost like synchronized action there. They're just all over the track, and that's the beauty of Homestead Miami, Joe. You know, right? You have multi-grooves. You have the different lanes, the kind of banking there. You can go low, mid, high, crossover. You know, that's the beauty. There's a lot of real estate to race.
Yeah, so right now, just watching these guys race around the track, some guys electing to use the very high line, some guys electing to use the very low line. Pretty much if you're on the outside, it looks like you're going all the way up to the wall most of the times. You know, especially if you're Matt Fritz up there, you see him, he's using the outside lane a lot, as well as Duval here, going to take the lead on the outside as well.
Slides up there behind Volpus, run the high line. So there is something to be said about the high line. However, Jax Duval is assumed your race lead by running the low line. Matt Novella will slide job Joe Volpus to take the second position as we cross the lap 20 of 100 tonight. Joe Volpus in the Valvoline machine there fighting with Zach Panzarella and Daniel Plant-Smith, a little almost 3 wide action. So you see the different lanes, and you can really, you can build your runs and do different things, save some fuel by running the bottom. So, you know, there's advantages to both parts of the track. So I think that, you know, Homestead offers a variety of different kind of racing for everybody. So, you know, you just see him scatter, and it's fascinating to watch as you see Zach Panzarella taking a look as we enter turn 3. Going to go down and going to tuck back in under Volpus and just kind of ride, be content. You save your stuff and try to, you know, get a little fuel mileage here if you plan on just pitting one more time.
Yeah, so those guys that stayed out, they might have to do a little bit of saving here to make it work. You see the 22 car there. I think you might have a little bit of left side damage, actually, from the incident with Parham that he didn't get a chance to fix by not pitting there. So we'll see if that affects him here on the long run, you know, having a little bit of left side scuff up there if he starts falling back because of it.
Yeah, that's going to be curious to watch as so far, you know, he's holding steady in 5th. So Daniel Smith there's kind of like riding behind him, you know, utilizing some of the benefits of a little bit of draft here. And I just like the way, you know, the different drivers just bob in and peek out. And there's a classic case of ripping the fence up top. Matthew Fritz there taking the second lane off the fence. And it's just when it works for you, running that high line, it can really bring benefits. But as you can see, if you scuff it a little bit, and it'll just kill your momentum, and you're just causing a lot of damage to the car. So high risk, high reward, but that high line is a lot of fun if you can get the hang of it.
Yeah, the high line, you know, it's just going to be the matter of how much does it start using up those tires here. That's what I'm concerned about. to see how much those guys, because this car is very, very tight. So running the high line, you really risk using up that right front a little bit more. I think running the middle might be the worst place to be on the track for tire wear, to be honest with you, just because you're giving yourself the momentum of the high line sort of, while also using the turn in of the bottom. So you're going to use it up, I think, the most if you're running that middle. Like you see Brenner right there running pretty much the middle lane. I think that's probably the worst place to be on the track, to be fair, right now. Fritz might be on the best spot. You can see just based on the momentum he had there from the high line, he's going to get 7th place, it looks like here.
He is. He's going to take advantage of that as the 115 machine of LA. You saw him up top riding up top there, and then he tried to change it up and go down in the bottom, and Matthew Fritz just kind of capitalized and stayed high. So he's going to gain the position. And yeah, I don't know, until the track kind of like rubbers in, gets a little bit more grip. I don't know. In personal experience, yeah, that middle lane, it can really wear the car and shorten the lifespan of the tires, because you're just, I don't know, sometimes it feels like you're just not committed to either running the bottom or running the top, so you can kind of be all over the place. But the bottom line looks like it's really holding strong tonight. As you see, Jax Duvall is still our leader. Matt Novella following closely behind. And Zach Panzarella is now in 3rd place as he does get around the 6 of Joe Volpus. And Daniel Plant-Smith, he's making a move there to pass Volpus as they quickly seesaw positions. Top 5, kind of heating up there as everybody's just kind of jockeying to ride behind the leader. I think they might be fuel saving. Would it be too soon to say? Just looking at lap times here, looks like everybody's not too far off of qualifying pace. So I don't know if really aggressive saving is at play here. As you see, a little scuff on the wall there, so it's easy to smoke that wall.
Yeah, the lap times, they look very, very even. Everybody's pretty much running low to mid 33s right now. As you see, David Brenner, he's actually starting to fall a little bit backwards there. Fell into the clutches. Lucas Alves gets passed by him. Buddy Sully and Matt Fritz right behind him now as well, trying to get around him. The big thing I notice here, so looking at the top 10, just looking at the top 10, you see Duval, Novella, they're in yellow, so they're top 10 in the points. Panzarella in orange, he's wild card driver. Then you got Smith in the top 10. You got Volpus locked in. So the first guy that's on the outside looking in is Lucas Alves. He's a part-time driver. I don't think he's going to have enough starts to be able to get into the chase. But David Brenner right now is looking to get his way in on points or with a win, one way or the other. And going in the wrong direction with so many guys in the top 10 in front of him is not going to be good for his chase hopes.
I think that visible damage on the left side is definitely hindering the aero just enough to where he's starting to lose some positions. He's just trying to ride it out, hoping for a caution or, green flag stops, and maybe just spend an extra couple seconds working on it, beating that door out or whatever they have to do. But yeah, David Brenner struggling a little bit, dropping a couple positions here, still trying to keep it in the top 10 and be within reach of your leaders, as he's going to lose another 2 positions. So stay tuned as you see Jay Stinson, Matt Tucker there, just kind of going on underneath him. And I think they're going to be able to complete the pass just after. As you see David Owens enter the picture as well. It's just about a third of the way through, as the 115 riding up high there almost hits the fence again, and that'll really be a good case for wheel damage if you hit it too hard at that angle. So be careful riding the fence up there. Daniel Smith looked inside on Zach Panzarella for 3rd. I haven't talked a lot about Daniel Smith tonight. We did allude earlier before the race that he made a big 5-spot jump, and so by starting tonight, it does make him eligible for the postseason. He's putting himself in a real good position right now inside the top 5. Think he has anything for the leaders at this point?
It's a little too early to tell, but he is showing some very promising work here. You could see that last lap pretty even with the 2 cars in front of him now of just Novella and Duval. And that was while passing Panzarella, so his lap times look really good in comparison with everybody around him. Not the fastest on the track. It looks like that's a tie right now between Novella and, oh, well, actually, it's about to change here this lap. Looks like Lucas Alves was the fastest on the track there last lap as he moves
Yeah.
around Volpitz for 5th.
They put down a heater, so Lucas enters your top 5 in the 115. Yeah, so Daniel Smith, you know, his catchphrase, his tagline was looking to send it, and he did there to get to third position there from Zach Panzarella. We'll see if Zach Panzarella just kind of maintains in 4th place, or he's going to look to race Daniel Smith early on as, you know, these tires are getting a few more laps on them. We're getting a little bit longer in the run. You know, these guys are kind of just trying to manage their stuff, because if we're trying to do this on one more stop, we got, you know, a fair amount of laps remaining before that pit window opens.
Yeah, so those guys that stayed out there on that last caution, so if I pull up the data here and take a quick gander at who stayed out. So your top 2 there, Novella, Duval, they stayed out under that last caution. Panzarella in 4th, Lucas Alves in 5th, Joe Volpis in 6th, Brenner, who's fallen to 11th, Zach Clausen in 15th, and Tommy Fox in 16th are all the guys that stayed out under that last caution. Everybody else pit for at least fuel, so they're in a better spot in order to make it on one more stop there. You know, pitting on lap 15 or so, you know, that leaves 85 or so laps left in the race, so that's pretty much right in that window. The guys that stayed out, though, you know, they're going to go 90 laps on pretty much 2 fuel runs here. So, you know, they probably need a caution in order to make it, but they might be able to stretch these 2 runs out. You know, when we're going to be able to see who's holding them and who's folding them, we're going to see it when these guys start pitting here in about 20 laps.
Yeah, so we're going to target around lap 55 or so tonight, and that'll be our pit window opening. We'll see who can really come off with the best performance there. You know, you're going to want your pack full of fuel. You're going to want 4 tires. You want a clean pit entry, a clean pit exit, no penalties. Joe Volpis high up there on the outside. He's going to get the momentum and get by Matthew Fritz. Matt Novella is now your new race leader. He's going to pass Jack Stivall for 2nd place. Daniel Smith running in 3rd. Zach Panzarella in 4th. Lucas Alves rounds out your top 5 with Buddy Solly in 6th place. Looking to get in on the fun. Matthew Fritz and Joe Volpis have a great battle going right now for 7th. And Jay Stinson right behind them in 9th. And David Owens rounds out your top 10 as we're approaching lap 39 of 100 on Friday Night Thunder.
So just going back to the point I was making earlier, all those guys that need to score points, none of them right now are in the top 10. Everybody in the top 10, aside from Lucas Alves, who's part-time right now, are guys that are in a current chase spot. So these guys are doing what they need to do in order to stay up front as the 6 gets the wall, and they're going to go 3 wide.
The 60 saw that and said, yes, may I? We're 3 wide at Homestead, Miami, with David Owens in tow entering turn 1. This is awesome. You got Joe Volpis kind of sketches the wall once more. Jay Stinson is going to capitalize and carry the momentum on the bottom. David Owens right behind Volpis, and we're side by side on the backstretch between the 6 and the 60 machine as the outside will prevail and Volpis will get the position. David Owens now challenging for 8th as he and Stinson are in a nice tight battle with that faux daddy machine that makes you think about Danica as we see contact. David Owens contact. Matthew Fritz lurking underneath the bumper of Jay Stinson lap 40. Great racing right here within the top 10. It just it epitomizes the urgency that you've put on it, Joe, that this battle is very, very tight, and you need to get most positions possible to bolster your case to get a playoff spot. So you can see it on track, guys. Not yet desperate, but definitely being very aggressive, and each spot is very valuable tonight.
Yeah, these guys are shifting positions in the top 10 very quick here, right at the tail end of it. 7th or 10th under a blanket. A little bit of a distance back to 11th place David Brenner.
This is your best racing on the track right now.
As he looks to try and maybe reclaim his top 10 position. I saw a couple other guys that looked like maybe Jack Sanders. I saw Matt Tucker, a couple other guys back there trying to close in on this battle as well. Steve Lewis, you see him on the inside of Ricky Mandela.
So just outside our top 10, these guys are trying to get all the spaces they can, to stay within reach of Volpus and Fritz and Owens and Stinson. Top 10, business is starting to pick up as you see these guys creeping in the pictures. David Brenner just trying desperately to keep within reach and manage the gap. You see Mandela gets in the wall a little bit there, and yeah, it's easy to do. He gets in there again. Little contact with Steve Lewis. Woo! Hold on to it, boys. That was great contact right there. Good racing, good recovery. So yeah, tight, very tight.
That damage on that 22 car is really starting to show even more there. See, he's falling back into the clutches now of these guys behind them as well. You can see you got Delgado. I see a bunch of guys that he's going to struggle to hold off here. Oh, it's getting tight.
Look at the side draft. They know there's blood in the water. The Sharks are swarming. David Brenner in peril on lap 44, not yet halfway with our pit window opening in roughly 12 laps. It's going to be exciting to watch. Look at Juan Delgado up top there with Ricky Mandela. Juan Delgado, he may be one of the best newcomers to the series, to the league. He's just improving every week, and he puts full races together and gets top 10 finishes, and even we've seen him get close to threatening for the lead. So Juan Delgado, another great performance tonight in that 14 DDI machine.
Looking back up towards the front of the field as this huge gaggle happens. Pass for second place. Lucas Alves gets around Daniel Plant-Smith and is now the new second place driver, but is well behind Matt Novella, who seems to have checked out on the field.
And it looks like Matt Novella has opened up a comfortable lead. As you see, the 77 is going to be a lap down to your leaders. It doesn't take long. Guys are struggling out there. They're spread out all over the track. And Matt Novella able to capitalize on the top 10 essentially battling. Jax Duval, maybe his tires are in a little bit of rough shape. Maybe he's saving some fuel and conserving, he and Panzarella, knowing that they need to carry that car at least another 10 to 12 laps to be able to have a chance to make it at the end. So, heavy reliance on the draft. Maybe just trying to back it off a little bit, back your corners up a little bit more roll off on the throttle, just trying to maybe, dare I say, clutch it.
Yeah, I mean, there might be some questionable things going on with shifters in the background that we don't really need to go too much further into detail with in order to make it to the end of this here race. We'll see who's like I said, we'll see who's really got the cards in hand here in the next 10 laps. If some of these guys are, like they think they're short, like they know they're short, I think they're going to start short pitting here in the next 2 or 3 laps in order to try and get a tire advantage and hope for a caution.
That's one of the few things that you can do. You can try to short pit, perhaps force the leader's hand to go off strategy to pit with you, because the new tire versus old tire advantage is going to be significant and enough to maybe sway the leaders pitting early and perhaps doing a splash and go to close out the race if we stay green. Everything indicates right now, we're on a great long green flag run. Hopefully the broadcaster jinx won't apply here, but it's been great. We got everything tidied up and been green since lap 16.
Yeah, very long green. We've almost gone the full fuel run here. So, we're not very keen to see green flag pit stops. So actually, I'm kind of concerned to see what these guys are going to do on a green flag pit stop here. Those barrels down there are very notorious for grabbing people. Not only in real life, but in the virtual world as well. I know a few people in here are very notorious, including myself, for running into them at one time or another.
I've been there, done that. And I've seen it happen too. So you want to be really careful on your approach. Matt Novella, your leader halfway. So we're halfway home, lap 50 of 100 tonight on Friday Night Thunder here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Matt Novella in that 56 machine, looking sinister as always. He's got himself about a 1.5, 1.6 second advantage over Lucas Alves and Daniel Smith behind him. Jax Duvall kind of just losing a few more positions. I think maybe he has to conserve a little bit more because he was having no trouble keeping pace for second. So maybe he's just kind of seeing if he can squeeze an extra lap. Maybe he needs to run an extra lap or two to run the tank dry.
See further back, Jay Stinson, he's moved into the top 5 here after Panzarella had a bit of a moment there that other lap. Buddy Solly right behind him in 6th, and then the battle for 7th right behind him between Matt Fritz and Zach Panzarella.
Yeah, so Zach Panzarella, after a healthy run up there towards the front, second, third place there, starting to slide back, the victim of tires getting old, and he's probably contemplating when he's going to pit, as I'm sure his tank is getting dry.
Here we go.
Jax Duvall and Panzarella set up their pit cycle. This could be the money stop. However, the quick math indicates I don't think they can make it to the end if they pit here, Joe.
This is too soon. This is too soon. See, they're going to need a caution here towards the end of this race in order to get back into it. The best thing for them is probably this run goes about 20 to 25 laps and a caution comes out with about 25 to go, because that'll play out the best for them. They'll get a little advantage of these tires, get some better track position, but they ain't going to have the fuel to make it to the NC.
Ball firing off as the lapper Beverly gets in for service. Matt Novella, your leader, still has not pitted. As you see, we have another taker down pit road. I think it's forced the hands. Lucas Alves, he's going to go and take service as the 77 exits. And Lucas going to come in for service. The math still ain't math, and Joe, he's going to be in the same camp, is he not?
Yeah, we're still too early. I think you got to go to at least, at the bare minimum, lap 55 in order to have a chance. 54, I don't think there's any sort of chance right now. So if guys start coming down this next time around, then I think we're within a window where it could happen.
So if Matt Novella decides to pit here, he has to be in full conservation mode, as he would need to at least net a lap, if not 2, to the good. As you see, Daniel Smith in second place, Jay Stinson in third. So, these guys are continuing to run laps. I don't know how many more they can, but this is only going to benefit them and improve their chances of making it to the end if we remain green, which Daniel Smith going to come in for service here as the leaders cross for lap 56. You're just about entering this window, as you mentioned, Joe. Tommy Fox coming in as well. But you have to think maybe these guys got to work together. Will David Brenner get that damage fix, or will he just have to continue? Ricky Mandela, he's been riding, close to David Brenner. Will he be able to have the freshies and get by him here as we have our pit cycle? Another taker, Matt Novella, your leader, in on lap 56 as we approach lap 57. So he went an extra lap. I still think it's going to be too close to call.
Yeah, right now, lap 56 was the first of the laps that I was thinking where, we could really start seeing people to be safe to make it. And you can see a lot of other guys, Joe Voltis, David Owens, saw him.
I think they can make it to the end. I think we're in the camp of those that can make it now. Zach Clausen coming in for potentially his final service of the evening. Jay Stinson still out on the racing surface, so he's going to be one more to the good. He's coming right now, so he's one more to the good over our race leader, Matt Novella, before he handed it over to Stinson. So Matthew Fritz still staying out there. So I think Fritz is going to be able to make it to the end, as is Buddy Solly, who's going to be your new second place. But, Joe, these guys are going to be at a disadvantage because the other guys pitted before them, and they're going to have the fresh tires. They're going to have a lot of time to make up.
Yeah, but you know what? They can make it up on the tail end by saving a little tires. But the advantage that they're really going to have here is having that little bit extra fuel and not having to worry about saving as much as everybody else.
Fritz coming in for possibly his final service of the evening. I think he can make it from here, so he should be in good shape. As Buddy Solly's still running out there, he's going to inherit the lead. He is now your race leader in the 21, so he's going to be to the good. As you see, Fritz coming down pit road there. Jay Stinson exiting the pits. He's going to cycle out right there behind. And I think he's right behind Lucas there, as Lucas is just going to stay committed to the high line. He's just been there since the start. And Buddy Solly coming in for service as well. You see the Jack Sanders coming in for service as well in the Exalta machine. And Matt Tucker, he's going to follow suit as well. So Matt Tucker, the Indiana native, coming in for his pit service. The money stop, as they say.
And that's going to cycle the lead back to Matt Novella here just in a second, right in front of Jax Duvall and Daniel Plant-Smith, who did undercut him a little bit, but they weren't able to take the lead away. So that is going to spell trouble for Duvall, who really probably wanted to take the lead off that short pit. So not only did he not get the lead, but he's not going to have enough fuel to go to the end of the race. So he really, really needs a caution here.
That has to be so frustrating, because he was the one that did short pit. I believe over comms he said he couldn't make it to the end, so he had to short pit. And in that situation, he just wasn't able to leapfrog in that gain. So something in the pit stop itself, or maybe a traffic dirty air. But Duvall just shy of being your race leader. Matt Novella will remain your race leader, as we have cycled through our potentially final stops for your leaders of the evening.
Yeah, so looking at the top five, you see these top three are right on top of each other, actually. Duvall right behind Novella, Plant-Smith right behind the both of them. But then it's a bit of a gap back to Panzarella in fourth. So he's got a bit of a gap to make up, but he did short pit as well. So he's in the same boat as Duvall on trying to make it to the end. Lucas Alves pretty much in the same boat as well. He did pit a lap later, though. So he might be in a little bit better shape, but he is running this high line, so that is going to burn more fuel. So really the first guy that I say was really safe on fuel is going to be your guy in sixth place, I believe here. Jay Stinson is going to be your first guy here that pitted later, I believe, if I take a look here at the data.
Yeah, Jay Stinson pits a lap later than Matt Novella, and I felt more confident in his ability to make it to the end in comparison to Novella. So I think Jay Stinson probably is the first one that, while looking at the fuel gauge, maybe doesn't have to be on that save and kind of just take the pace out of the car a little bit. I think he should be in good shape. I think Owens, Fritz, Solly, Volpus, I think the rest of the top 10, they're in great shape to go to the end. So we will see what's going to happen here. It's incredible to unfold here, as we did green flag pit stops, and we still we've thrown the yellow flag away. So this is beautiful to watch. I'm just curious to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, you know what I think? See, I think we need to take advantage of this this green flag action and give the fans a little crank it up action. What do you say?
I think we can go ahead and crank it up. Let's go ahead and crank it up. MRL. And we're back for 69 on lap 69 of 100 on MRL, Friday Night Thunder from Homestead, Miami Speedway. I hope you like the way we crank it up, because we sure as hell do. I'm Snake, your host, and I have Smokin' Joe with me here. In case you've missed the action, we've had 2 cautions thus far in our main feature, 100-lap event in the ARCA Series. Matt Novella has been your race leader before and after our recent green flag pit stops, which we think may be the final stop for some, but a few still may be in peril, a little short on fuel. So, little race recap. Yep, lap 70 of 100, 2 cautions. We've had 8 lead changes, 6 different leaders. So, we've had a little bit of passing here. We've had some battles for the lead. But for the most part, Joe, it's, just kind of been either Matt Novella or Jax Duval or Matthew Fritz just kind of out in front, and, 4, 5, 6 cars just kind of riding behind there. So can you give us a little insight on what's going on right now as we're 30 laps to go before our finish and checkered flag tonight?
Yeah, so I think a lot of these guys are going to look back on the 2 cautions that happened early in the race and just where it's put them in the race. So, David Owens, Matthew Fritz here, you see them battling for 7th. Those 2 were battling for the lead prior to that lap 8 caution that came out. That involved Novella, Owens, and pretty much the whole rest of the field behind them. And then, of course, the second caution there on lap 14 that happened between Brenner and Parham. And just who pitted when has really changed the way the race looks. So Matt Novella taking advantage of it, as he's only pitted twice, and he seems to probably be good on fuel, but maybe a little shaky. But most of the guys behind him that are good on fuel, they've pitted 3 times when you look at the stats there. David Owens has pitted 3 times, Jay Stinson, Daniel Plant-Smith have all pitted 3 times, but they're also all good on fuel as well, and they were able to go a little bit further.
Absolutely. So yeah, this all started with a couple early cautions, and then going back green since lap 16. So the fuel window being 40 to 44 laps. It's get your calculators out for the rest of this deal. So Jax Duval, he goes ahead and he's our biggest mover of the race. He tried to force the leader's hands because he had to pit early and be just outside the fuel window. So it was really curious to see that he wasn't able to inherit the lead by short pitting and trying to force the other's hands while having to short pit, and Matt Novella still retaining the lead. So quite a mystery, but the Florida man, as tattooed on his windshield there, he is full of mystery and intrigue.
So looking at that's your biggest mover of the race. Your biggest loser of the race right now that's still running on track, the Tough Break Award goes to actually Matt Tucker. He's back in 14th place after starting on the 2nd row. He's all the way back in 14th. Down 11 spots. That caution, that first wreck that he got pushed into by Vulpes, really has just turned his race upside down, and he's never been able to recover from it.
That's an unfortunate circumstance, because we're used to seeing Matt Tucker battling for the lead. We're used to seeing Matt Tucker in the top 5. So just not going his way tonight. Hopefully there's a caution kind of help his cause and get him back up there. But yeah, he has forfeited the most positions tonight, and that's unfortunate. But Matt Tucker, always a fighter, so plenty of racing left. So, looking further up in the field there, got a beautiful battle going on right in the middle of your top 10. David Owens, Matthew Fritz there, Lucas Alves, a great top 10 battle, as these cars, I think, should probably try to work together and catch your leaders, as they have a couple second deficit to make up, as you see Alves in a wall. Yeah, he added to that stripe up there, and that's not going to make you go faster, LA.
Yeah, he lost a spot there to Owens. I think he might lose another one here to Fritz. He's trying really hard on that high lane. The thing he's got to be concerned about, though, is his fuel numbers. So I think that's kind of why this slide is happening for him. Ran 2nd earlier in the race. Now he's pretty much trying to hold on to 7th. Looks like he's going to lose it here to Fritz and fall to 8th. I think most of his woes here due to the fuel strategy and making sure he has enough to make it to the end. It looks like it's going to really bite him in the rear here. Just did not have enough fuel.
I give him a lot of credit for staying committed to the high line, and it takes a lot of nerve, it takes a lot of focus and skill, and not everybody can do it. And those that work hard at it, I like he's doing there. I just definitely give him a lot of credit for it. But yeah, it's gonna be to his detriment tonight, sadly, as you're gonna burn more gas and tire, and that's two things that's not going to translate into being in the race lead and at the end. And a little battle here between Joe Volpus and Steve Lewis in the 88. The Fast Louie Nike Air Swoosh, whatever you want to call it, machine. Gotta love it. I like that kind of chrome matte finish that he has on the wrap on that. That's really sharp. But all-time favorite, Mark Martin fan growing up. I love that Valvoline 6, so that's always going to be number one for me. Tommy Fox in the double aught. Didn't haven't spoken much on him tonight. Tommy having a great run, though, just outside the top 10. He's looking to put himself another good points night together. Caught up in that early action, so he had to capitalize on his fast repair. But Tommy Fox, the Leeds, Alabama native, he's having himself a go at it. Maybe he can get into the top 10 before this is all said and done.
Yeah, he's up 8 spots right now, started 20th up to 12th. Another driver up 8 spots is the one right behind him in 13th. That's Jack Sanders, started 21st.
Colonel Jack. Love it. And so before we talk about Jack Sanders, original or extra crispy? The viewers at home don't want to know, but original or extra crispy?
I think right now his chances of making up points right now on the top 10 are looking pretty extra crispy, if you ask me. Pretty much everybody actually trying to make up points tonight is on the crispy side. None of the top 12 right now are drivers that are competing for a chase spot that's on the outside looking in. Lucas Alves, of course, mentioned it before, not going to have enough starts. So everybody else in the top 12 are all drivers that are currently in a chase spot. So the guys that are trying to make up points are not having the nights that they need to. So I think we're looking at a scenario, C, where the top 7 are going to lock themselves in on points after tonight.
It's been an incredible model of consistency, and for this kind of points format to work out as beautifully as it has so far, it's been amazing because these guys every week there's a lot at stake and there's so much to race for. So it's exciting that these guys do not have a win, but they just run strong week in, week out, getting those solid top 5, top 10 finishes, avoiding those DNFs or losing connection. So yeah, I've been in the booth here with you all season, and it's been so much fun to watch and talk about. And David Owens, he's the flip side of the coin. He is one of those with multiple wins, so he's out there more trophy hunting than maybe putting together a solid points night.
Yeah, so actually looking right now, the guys that are second and third in the points, Volpus has a bit of a lead on them. So they're not really fighting for first, they're fighting for second. And that battle's very tight between Matt Fritz and Steve Lewis. So Fritz, you just saw him, he got around David Owens for 6th. A few laps before that, you saw Lewis get around Volpus for 10th. So right now, those 4-spot difference plus the laps that Fritz led earlier, that's going to right now swap them between second and third in that point standings.
Yeah, Fritzy trying to make that march, get in that top 5, as he's going to try to reel in Zach Panzarella next, and David Owens trying to make up some pace to get in on that battle. As Fritz looking inside turn 3, he'll go to the bottom. Panzarella up on the outside. Panzarella out on the high line. If he hits this cleanly, he should carry the momentum going out on turn exit on 4, and looks like Fritz is going to have enough and slide up in front of him. So the high line really not as effective as I thought it would be tonight, Joe. I haven't seen as much success as I have in other races here. Is there something more to that?
I think it really just comes down to the setup for the car. This car drives very tight on the default setups. So I think that's what it's really coming down to. You really takes a lot of patience to try and rip the boards. And in that kind of a scenario, actually the bottom might be faster just because of how much speed you have to scrub off running that high line. You know, you really don't get that advantage of the momentum coming off as much as you'd really think, especially with other cars. You know, you see it a lot, with the way the tire to momentum um, balance really works out, especially with a cup car or even the Xfinity car as well, where you're able to carry a lot more speed running the high line than on
Of
the
course,
bottom, and then
of
you're able
course.
to get that momentum to make the passes.
That makes sense. Yeah, I've been driving these cars since iRacing has released them, just as you have, and I agree with you. You know, these cars tend to be tight. They tend to plow. So it's not as easy with the way iRacing has the fixed setups currently. You know, will we see a future update or maybe some playing around with the setups? That's to be seen in future seasons. But this is what we have right now, and yeah, so. The bottom half of the track seems to be of more speed and consistency in terms of pace. 13 to go from Homestead tonight. Matt Novella still your race leader tonight, but the real battle is for second. Is Duval was taking a real good peek at Stinson,
Oh,
and you
Zach
see
Panzarella.
Zach Panzarella, one of the ones that we were on the fence about making it the rest of the way, coming in with 12 to go. I think he's going to need a little splash of gas, and he's not going to be able to make it to the end.
Yeah, somebody else that pitted there as well while we were talking about everybody else was Tommy Fox. You see him; he's a lap down now as well. So those were two guys that couldn't
Me
make it to
too.
the end. Duval looks like we'll see if he may have made a miracle run here and saved enough fuel.
Well,
Looking at everybody else up there, the next guy I'd be worried about is Lucas Alves in eighth.
Duval was battling Stinson not 2 laps ago for that position, and he's definitely backed the pace off a little bit. I think he's trying to throw a Hail Mary at saving, but like we said earlier, he was the first to start this pit cycle with the short pit. I don't see a path to him making it to the end without pitting or caution.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. Right now that caution looks like it's probably as far away as it's been all night. Right now, you're looking at the guys that are closest to each other on track. That's Lucas Alves, Steve Lewis, and it looks like Zach Panzarella just got around them on fresh tires. And pretty much nobody's really close to each other right now as you look throughout the field. I think Lucas Alves and Sanders might be the closest to each other. They're in ninth and 10th. And they're not very close. Well, now they are, but they weren't there. Oh, well, it looks like Alves is just going to give up the spot, trying to really desperately save that fuel.
Just like Alex is going to concede the position to Jack Sanders. I don't think Lucas can make it all the way, so maybe he's trying to just back it up a little bit so he can stretch it out. Yeah, you see Sanders still going for it, so I think we believe Jack Sanders can make it to the end, whereas inside 10 laps to go, the jury is out on Jax Duval, and I don't think he's going to make it. So we're going to keep tabs on him. It's been Matthew Fritz rapidly approaching as Duval has kind of backed his pace off of Jay Stinson. So Matthew Fritz trying to make a late charge at it. I believe that he can make it the rest of the way because he was able to stay out longer than Matt Novella before pitting. So Matthew Fritz should be in good shape. And we'll see if a little further back in action if Daniel Smith can make it as well. We have 8 to go from Homestead.
Yeah, those are the guys right now that are teetering between being good and not being good. The guys that that we think are definitely short are Duval and Alves. Everybody else up there should be pretty solid, except for Novella and Smith. Those are the guys that are teetering on disaster if they don't do a good job on this run saving fuel. To be fair, Novella has a 3-second lead. I feel like if he wasn't good on fuel, he wouldn't have checked out on everybody. So
Yeah.
I think it's a safe bet to say the 56 car is good on fuel.
So Matt Novella, your race leader here, he pit with 44 to go, so he is expecting to get every drop of racing fuel out of that fuel run of the 56 machine. And yeah, to your point, he has got a 3-second lead, so there's there's plenty of time to, you can back your pace down if you were in a position where you needed to save some fuel. But it looks like he's good to go. Will Jay Stinson have enough time to get to him? And then once he gets to Novella, if he gets to Novella, will he be able to have enough to make a move for the win?
I think he needs to get a rocket ship behind him in order to do that, or they might need to install NAS in that car.
That 84 in for
Speaking of
service.
installing, oh my goodness, is
Oh,
the
the
77.
77. He didn't hit the pit barrels, but he hit the inside wall close enough, I guess. Beverly, up to his usual antics tonight, smacks the inside pit wall for a little splash and go with Florida Man.
Yeah, it looks like the 77 was trying to find a quick exit out of Florida early on this
Yeah,
race. Not a good race for him here tonight, unfortunately. Needed
no.
a strong day in points.
He'll be ready for Talladega. As you see, Matt Novella with 4 to go, almost with the stranglehold on the lead. As we believe he has enough fuel to make it to the end. Jay Stinson just a little bit too far behind. There need to be some serious sputters on the final lap at this point, unless Novella does make a mistake or some kind of mishap occurs. But Jax Duvall with the splash and go, we saw it coming. Unfortunate. Matthew Fritz, he's been trying to chip away as he gets underneath Ricky Mandela. I don't think he's going to have enough time or pace to catch the 60, but a podium-worthy performance tonight for Matthew Fritz. So good to see him up to his consistent ways. David Owens, a strong rally back to fourth tonight, Joe. I think that's probably the story of David Owens' race tonight. Caught up in the big one, started up front in the mid-pack within the top 10 most of the race, so he's made a great recovery. As Daniel Smith, he's going to round out the top 5 as well. It looks like he's going to be able to make it to the end, as we've seen no indication he's going to make it to the pits either. So 2 to go. It's kind of a waiting game at this point, Joe.
Yep. Right now, Matt Novella just needs to make it around here one more time and take the white flag. The longest green flag run of the season by far here. See, we're about to be going 84 laps without a caution if we can make it to the line here.
So if we can make it to the line, like you said, the longest green flag run of this series history from Homestead Miami Speedway, Matt Novella is going to come to the line for the white flag. 1 to go tonight on Friday Night Thunder from Homestead Miami Speedway on MRL Broadcasting. Matt Novella, 56, looking to get another win, kind of pad his resume and punch his ticket for the playoffs, Joe. Matt Novella, he's ready and primed to make a championship run in the ARCA Series.
Yep, Matt Novella is going to be coming down here into turn 3 and is just about 10 seconds away from his 3rd win of the season.
Matt Novella, one more corner, rounds 4, on the exit, clean. He's going to come to the finish line. Matt Novella tonight, your winner from Homestead Miami Speedway. Jay Stinson in 2nd place. Matthew Fritz rounds out the top 3. It's going to be David Owens in 4th. Daniel Smith is going to get a top 5 tonight. Buddy Sally outside looking in 6th place, but a hell of a run. Steve Lewis in 7th place. Jack Sanders with a nice recovery, finishes 8th inside the top 10. And it looks like Matt Tucker, one more clean corner, he's going to be in 9th place. And Matt Tucker, he ran out of fuel. Joe Volpus gets by him.
The race is over there. The race is over.
And our race is over. Do them donuts, Novella.
Lots of interesting things happening here at Homestead Miami Speed. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay.
Wow. Little displeasure perhaps from earlier tonight.
Man, I think Matt Novella is going to need to take out his Gulf Coast Racing teammates to dinner here, because that's the second time he's won in the last. Oh my God. That's the second time he's won in the last 3 weeks. So second time he's won in the last 3-4 weeks, and he's ended up wrecked by one of his new teammates.
Yeah, so it must be some kind of Gulf Coast racing ritual as Matt Novella gets murdered for winning the race. Jay Stinson is going to be 2nd place tonight in that 60 machine. Great run tonight from Jay Stinson. Matthew Fritz, 3rd place, going to round out the podium. David Owens, little bit of getting caught up in the big one there early on, recovers, rallies to 4th place. Daniel Smith, a solid top 5 performance. Buddy Sally 6th, as I mentioned earlier. Steve Lewis, Jack Sanders, Tucker, and Volpus round out the top 10. David Brenner able to stabilize in 11th.
Lucas Alves, last car in the lead lap in 12th. Your guys a lap down. Zach Clausen ends up in 13th. Jax Duvall will fall to 14th there, of course, with the pits cycle where he had a pit in extra time. Same with Zach Panzarella in 15th, Tommy Fox in 16th as well. Brandon Garand really needed a good run tonight. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get it. Finishes 17th. Same with Juan Delgado in 18th. He needed a good run for his points position as well. Ricky Mandela, we saw him upside down at one point in the race. He gets 19th here tonight. John Beverly tried to go to his hauler a little bit early. He gets 20th. Then your guys that did go to the hauler early, Richard Swingle, Justin Parham, and Mike Benton.
So those are our results tonight from Homestead Miami Speedway. And although we weren't able to get our race winner, Matt Novella, in the booth for an interview tonight, he did go ahead and send me a message that he would like me to tell everybody. So these are Matt Novella's words. He said in reference to the incident with David Owens, he said it was on David and his lack of awareness. So we'll see. We'll take it from there. I know there was a lot of discussion after that incident, so we'll see what happens moving forward. He also goes on to say it was a good race all around. He got a little worried he wasn't going to have enough fuel, and the few that topped off the last caution were good. So just running the bottom naturally saves fuel. So I didn't have to go into fuel full save mode on the last stint. So Matt Novelli, your race winner tonight, definitely claiming who was responsible for the big one tonight, and gave a little bit of insight into his fuel saving strategy. So it's got to be smooth. So after tonight, Joe Volpus is in your race series lead, so he's going to retain the top spot. Matthew Fritz is going to move up and leapfrog Steve Lewis, get that second position. He had a great top 3 run tonight. Steve Lewis a little further back in the top 10. David Owens is going to move up a spot as well in the 4th. Jax Duvall is going to lose 1 spot there. Just couldn't make it to the end on fuel. Matt Novella with that win, he's going to gain another position. Tommy Fox, not the best of luck tonight. He ran and had to go for a little splash and go at the end, so he's going to lose 2 positions. Jay Stinson, he's going to hold steady with that second place tonight, so he'll remain 8th place. Daniel Smith, he moves up 1 and now is eligible for the playoffs, so that's a great move for him. And Sean Walton, notably absent tonight. He's going to drop 2 positions, and he's going to be on that cut line with Zach Panzarella right there, 1 point behind him.
So the top 7 in points all lock in tonight. Jay Stinson, as you mentioned, in 8th place. He's a mortal lock right now. Pretty much, I think starting the race will lock him in next week at Talladega. Daniel Plant-Smith, a little bit more work to do. Definitely don't want to get caught up in the big one next week at Talladega and taken out of the race early, or else his points position may be in trouble. Sean Walden, with his win, does have something to fall back on if he does need to fall back on it. But there are some guys outside the top 10 there, see, with some wins. You see Panzarella and Buddy. Those right now are your 2 wild card drivers, as the points battle is very tight for that 10th spot, and as well the 2 wild card spots. There's so much that can happen next week, Steve. It's so hard to tell you who's going to be in those final 5 spots. Those first 7 that locked in on points, I think those are the only locks. I think those last 5 spots, they could be anybody at this point.
Well, Joe, you talk about wild cards, and you know, what better place to go than to Talladega next week, the ultimate wild card, to try to sort this out. So you see below the cut line, you got Panzarella and Solly there. They're all but a lock in your wild card position, as Parham does not have enough starts. Colin Bollinger, not enough starts. So you're going to have a
new winner,
great showing, a new winner from like Juan Delgado or David Brenner, Brandon Garand, perhaps John Beverly. So there's still a lot at play, and with super speedway ahead, you know uh, that any of these possibilities can happen.
Yeah, that's what we're going to be looking out for. What's going to happen when we go to Talladega next week? Who's going to be the drivers that show up and get to the front? Who are going to be the guys that lead the most laps? Who are going to be the guys that make the moves to put themselves in the right spots? I'm looking at some of those guys right now that need a win back there. Brandon Garand, I've seen him get very close to win at a super speedway
Yeah.
multiple times in the Cup Series before. John Beverly has a Cup Series win in MRL at Daytona. We're going to Talladega next week, but pretty much the same kind of concept. David Brenner usually runs up front. Juan Delgado is going to be a trial by fire for him if he really wants to get into the chase with his current situation as well.
So what all that means is tune in next week because Talladega is going to be incredible. I cannot wait. Super speedway racing is perhaps some of my favorite style of racing to watch. So Talladega probably being my favorite track of that discipline. So I'm going to be really excited, Joe. I can't wait to watch these guys battle. Uh, so we go to Talladega on the 18th. It's going to be a 75 lap battle royale. All the chips are pushed to the center of the table, and we're going to decide who's going to the playoffs, Joe.
Yeah, and then you see the chase schedule there afterward. So we're going to see not only who's going to be in and who's going to be out, but who's really going to feel like they have a strong chance at winning the championship after everything gets reset next week.
So not looking too far ahead in the future. Once we have our playoff grid set, really interesting track selection. The Rockingham one kind of really pops out at me. The Michigan one is a great opening round race, and going for all of it at Las Vegas. Going to be an incredible way to round out our summer. So I can't wait for the playoffs tonight. But first things first, Talladega next week. I'm all in. So Joe, any final thoughts before we get on out of here?
Yeah, just a big shout out, of course, to some of our sponsors, to Animal House Customs for the great partnership that we have here on Friday nights. Shout out to Ricky and, of course, Mike, and the great partnership I have with them. It's and great friendship as well. So shout out to those boys. Shout out also to our other sponsor, Chantilly Lace. Uh, big partner, of course. I wish we could get him up here in the booth with us. Get Brandon Garand up here with us to say a few words.
I've been
Would
working
love to
on
be
it.
able to have him up here and for a few words and for some good laughs during one of these broadcasts as well.
Maybe we'll get him in for that Talladega. I have a pretty good feeling he'll show up.
All right, all right. I like the sound of that. So shout out to those boys. Also shout out to everybody a part of the production. So shout out to Buddy for everything that he does to put together all this great production work. Some really cool stuff that we were able to show tonight that he's been working really hard on. There's some other great stuff that I'm sure he's very eager to start showing everybody as well. I'm not going to go too far into detail about that. Don't want to spoil anything for anybody. Um, Definitely got some really cool stuff on the horizon. So just shout out to everything that he's been doing. Shout out to you for broadcasting with us, as well for Friday nights, and then shout out to everybody else that pitches in and helps out in MRL.
It's a blast to be in the booth with you, Joe, and Buddy just does an incredible job at producing and making these broadcasts possible. So definitely thankful and grateful for what he does. So it all works. So with that being said, we're off to Talladega next week for Smoking Joe in the booth, Buddy the producer. I'm your host Snake, and if go fast or get past.